what if you could get sponsors to easily donate $1,000 to $5,000 to your robotics team? However, to do so, you'd have to completely change the way that you think about sponsorships. Because at the end of the day, sponsorships are really about one thing. Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Jeremy Bosquez. I have been an FRC coach since 2018, but since 2020, I have been running my own video marketing business, getting clients and dealing with marketing and using the skills that I've gained to then teach students in FIRST Robotics how they can increase their marketing and get more sponsorships, more funding, and more awareness about their teams and their programs. Now, if you've seen some other videos on my channel, you may notice that this setup's a little bit different. I'm actually trying to make this video a little bit more raw and just in the moment, because this is a topic that I think a lot of teams struggle with and they have questions about. And I will preface this by saying I am not an expert when it comes to getting sponsorships for robotics teams. However, I am very good at getting business owners to understand the value that I bring to the table when I'm dealing with marketing and what they're going to get for their business when they work with me. And those concepts are directly applicable to dealing with businesses in your FIRST Robotics team to get sponsorships. Now, in my learning journey of doing video marketing since 2020, I've learned a lot about how businesses think and business owners think when it comes to spending money on anything for their business. And getting sponsorships, you need to think about, what does the business view your sponsorship as? And when I say that, I mean primarily there's kind of three ways that businesses think of spending money. One, they think of spending money as an expense, which means they spend money on something and they get nothing back out of it. They're just simply down dollars. That's pretty difficult to get sponsorships that way, because for a business, their sole purpose is to continue to make money and continue to grow. So anything that is a deficit for them is going to be a challenge to get more than, X number of dollars, because it'd be like going to someone and just asking them, hey, would you give me $10 or $20 or $100, right? At some point, you're going to get to a dollar amount where you go, I can't just give you $500 or $1,000 like for no reason other than just because I feel like it. The second way that business owners think about spending money is as an investment. An investment is they spend some amount of money, but that money is going to give them more money back over time. So this could be, again, we spend money on a marketing campaign. Maybe we spend $10,000. But those $10,000 we spend are going to make us $100,000 over the next year or 2 years. And the last way that business owners think of spending money is typically in kind of a quid pro quo type of way. And so this means they spend money on something and then they get something back in return that's basically of equal value or very close, not really a deficit or a gain. A lot of times it's going to be for goods and services of some kind. So understanding how business owners think about money in that way and spending money, as a robotics team, when you go to a business asking them to sponsor your team, you need to understand that what you're asking for, does that business owner view it as an expense, as an investment, or a quid pro quo case? So we'll say robotics team A goes to a business and asks them for some amount of money, let's say $500. That business is maybe going to look at their books and determine, do we have $500 that we can just give away to this organization, this nonprofit team? Now, some businesses are big enough where they have a budgeted number of dollars each year that they get to give, as nonprofit or charity or, charitable donations or whatever. But usually that dollar amount is not super high. And again, it's because this is an expense to the business. They're just giving money away and they're not really getting anything in return. So yes, they want to give money away. It makes their business look better, I'm sure, to show that they're supporting certain things. But ultimately, they're not going to give tons of money away because they're a business. Their point is to make money, right? This is probably the most common way that teams in FIRST Robotics are getting money. And you have to get a lot of these sponsorships in order to make any amount of dent, in your funds for the year for your team. I do have a favor to ask you, and that is if you got value out of this video and the videos that I've made on my channel, recommend them to other people in the FIRST Robotics space. Because if you YouTube FIRST Robotics marketing, there's nothing. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who's putting content out there, and I'm doing that for a reason, and that's because no one else is talking about it. At least not on a global scale like YouTube. And so that's all I want to do is to help others out. So if you could do that, I would really, really appreciate it. The second way, again, a business owner may view it is as an investment. And so these types of sponsorships are usually going to be bigger, and they're usually going to be annual or at least repetitive, right, each year. And so this could be where you have built a relationship with a business and you're giving them something in return that they see as valuable. In which case they may give you $1,000 because they know that in the long run, that is going to give them a return of, $10,000 or $5,000. Then the last way that most teams are getting money is some kind of quid pro quo. So, if you give us $500, we will put your logo on our robot. We will put your logo on our t-shirt. We will put your logo on our banner that goes up in our pit during competition. We'll post about you on our social media. And most teams have probably sponsorship packages where it's, you give us $500 and you get these things. You give us $1,000, you get these things. You give us $5,000, you get these things. Now, the challenge with these kinds of sponsorships is they can be high dollar, but most of the time, even though you're giving them something in return, the business may not view that thing that you're giving them as that valuable. For example, again, if you put their logo on your banner or your trailer, that's great. I mean, they're getting essentially free advertising and exposure wherever your trailer goes, wherever it sits, people see it. It's like a walking billboard. But how many eyes are actually going to see it on a regular basis, right? I mean, imagine that they put their logo on your trailer, or they put their logo on, like the wall of a giant stadium that like an NFL team plays in. How many eyes are going to see that logo every single game or day compared to on your robotics trailer? The things that you're giving, again, the business has to view as valuable enough. And some businesses may view it as super valuable and some may not. And it depends also on what your team is doing. If your team is doing a lot of marketing or things like that, you may have a lot more reach and engagement and awareness and exposure than other teams, in which case the business may know that and they may be willing to give you more because the things you're going to do for them, they actually see as valuable and they're going to get more money back by giving you, money to begin with. But personally for me, I think that sponsorship packages where they're set things of you get, these things if you give us this dollar amount and these things if you give us this dollar amount aren't really a good way to get high dollar sponsorships. And that's because every business views different things as valuable. And so when I would go to sponsorships, and again, I think of this as going to business owners when I'm talking to them, trying to get them as a client, understanding what does their business need? What do they find valuable? If we put your name on our robot or anything, like, do you care really? And they may go, yeah, like that's nice, but it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't really give us anything. We're just gonna, great. So all in all, the secret sauce, I would say, when it comes to getting high dollar sponsorships is have a value driven mindset when you go in to talking to a business about sponsorship. If you're going into a business with the mindset of how do I get them to give me money, you're already going to lose, or at least you're not going to get as much as you want. If you go into a sponsorship conversation with a business with the mindset of what does this business find valuable and what problems do they have that we could maybe help them with, that automatically is going to steer your conversation in a way that is more driven towards that business's needs. And if you can help them in some way solve those problems or give them value, they're much more likely to give you a higher dollar amount because ultimately they see the value that you're going to provide to them. And maybe the more money they give you, the more value you can give back. which is great for both them and for you. And now you've also set up this relationship that may probably lead to continual sponsorship every year because the business, again, is getting value back from you by them sponsoring. That's a pretty high level kind of concept, again, that comes from business, but I've found that that is very, very helpful. Again, acquiring businesses as clients, and it can be applied directly to getting businesses as sponsors for your FIRST Robotics team. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this one. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.